middle school, something that many of us try to forget. And I'm the same way in most cases, but one thing I'll never forget is the fire alarm system that my middle school had. Unlike this setup, where I've got a Firelight MS5UD and a Notifier Fire Warden NFW50X, my middle school consisted of an MS10UD in my second year of school, along with a Cerberus Pyrotronics panel running conventional zones that would also trip the Firelight panel and vice versa. I always remember fire drills where we would hear the doors close on the opposite side of the hall from the Firelight panel about a second after hearing the alarms on that side or the gym side of the school going off, since there was always a slight delay from when the one panel tripped the other one. And, well, it had a very distinct sound that I'll never forget. It had the Wheelock MTs on continuous on the Cerberus panel, and it had Spectral Alert Classics on California coding continuous on the Firelight panel. Now, the first year of my school, the school had a Firelight 10-zone conventional panel with LED indicators versus the ANN80, but a lightning strike through the phone lines wound up making it so that the system had to be replaced. And little known fact, the place I happen to work for now wound up being the company to have replaced it way before I even got into this trade, but while I was still very interested in it. So full circle has kind of allowed me to learn a little bit more about this system and how it worked. So in this case, I've got my NFW50X to be the Cerberus panel, air quotes, with the two Spectral Alert Classic model horns and strobes. And the Wheelock MT is on the Firelight panel, opposite of how it was in my middle school, but still, it is the tone that I will never forget. It's one of those things that once you hear it, you can't unhear it, mainly due to the fact that it probably was a deafening 110 decibels at least. Fun fact about the Wheelock MTs on continuous, they are loud. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to actually pull the system as if I was at my middle school. Unlike the middle school, I don't have a Cerberus panel that's flush mounted with an ANN80 next to it so that I can silence both systems since there's a cross trip. But I do have ANN80s on both systems with monitor module and control modules to trip this system. So both systems trip each other. It's a whole deal. I can go into the programming about that at some other point. But guys, you all want to hear it. I'm sure of it. And once you hear it, you'll never want to unhear it. You'll never be able to. So let's go ahead and pull the fire alarm because that's what you're all here to see. Here we go, guys. And just to show you there's a cross trip, you can see that what used to be a Firelight panel, it's actually a Notifier now, tripped zone 4, which is coming off the CRF relay. So now comes the fun part where we got to reset both systems very quickly. I'm going to reset the pull station, which was a close one. I almost didn't. So now both of these systems should read normal. Both monitor modules should be flashing and all normal, happy, go lucky, back to their normal lives of blinking and light speed. So that's pretty much it. That sound I will never forget. That was my middle school fire alarm sound. The fire doors did separate it, so you really didn't hear the wheelocks, except for in the beginning, or when you're outside, if you went down to the one side of the building, you'd hear those going. Oftentimes, for whatever reason, they'd always be able to silence the Firelight before they could silence the wheelocks on the Cerberus panel that they had. Don't know if it was the way it was set up. Not entirely sure all of the technical specs, but I do know that it is a setup that I'll never forget. And it's been slightly adjusted over the years as the school I went to no longer exists. It's now rented to another type of school, which has added a mix of L-series horns and strobes. So in addition to that horrible deafening noise, they've got these on code 3, along with a Potter power supply that is controlling everything and basically destroying the perfection, aka ear rape of the worst kind. Thanks, guys, for watching this very random, weird video. I hope you enjoyed seeing a panel you haven't yet seen on this channel and hearing the worst sound of your lives. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.